Well, hello and welcome. My name is Sheila Wilson. I'm a registered nurse. I have a nonprofit called StopHealthCareViolence.org. There is also a website called Stop Healthcare Violence and a Facebook page called Stop Healthcare Violence, and that comes with Heal the Healer. I am also a host on Passionate World Talk Radio with Lillian Caldwell, who is the CEO, and Jeannie White, who is the station manager. The disclaimer for us is the views of the guest may not represent the views of the host of the station. My guest today is Betty Ann Lauria. She is a certified emotional freedom technique practitioner with Emotional Freedom Technique International. Betty Ann has been on my show before and spoke about emotional freedom technique, also known as tapping. And actually, she gave me a lesson in it, and I might get a lesson again today, but we'll see how the time goes. I am hoping she can tell us more about how this works and how it can help the nurses, healthcare workers, and everyone else to lower their stress levels. Hello and welcome, Betty Ann. What's going on?
It's an honor to be here. What's going on? EFT is going strong. More and more people are finding out about it, and more research has been done. And so it's becoming, I wouldn't say mainstream, but very close to where acupuncture is and other kinds of alternative modalities for healing. So it's a very exciting time to be a part of EFT right now. I'll just go over a really quick definition, which you pretty much already said, but just so people know, EFT is also known as tapping, and it stands for Emotional Freedom Techniques, and it's a body-mind system literally at your fingertips that significantly reduces stress hormones in the body to improve your health and well-being. And it's gentle, and the way it works is a guide, like myself, works with a client and we follow along, and the client taps on themselves while we talk about the issue. And that's the magic of EFT, is that it's not only tapping on the meridian endpoints the way you would with acupressure, but it's also talking about the issue. Those two things together are what make EFT work, as they've discovered by checking out the brain and checking our cortisol levels, that scientifically it is proven to work. So it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it sounds really exciting. At our fingertips. That's what you're saying, right?
Yeah, it's right at our fingertips. You just, basically what you do is, following the practitioner or a chart, if you're looking at a chart, you tap on meridian endpoints. Now, when EFT was first, I want to say, almost discovered by a psychiatrist named Dr. Roger Callahan back in the 60s, he used a lot more acupressure points. But then someone named Gary Craig pared it down to 9 specific points, and one of them being the side of the hand, and all the others are on the face and the chest and under the arm. Those are all the points that you would be tapping on while talking. It's easier to demonstrate EFT than it is to explain it sometimes. It looks a little funny if you don't know what you're looking at, someone tapping on the top of their head, for example, and talking to themselves. It's kind of funny, but it works. So it's pretty cool. And they're using it all over the place now. The Veterans Administration is using it for veterans with PTSD because it's been known to lower their stress levels and to help them not get triggered as easily. It's also used for, that's pretty amazing, isn't it?
It is amazing. With the triggering, I was talking to one of the nurses, and she said that, she works in a psychiatric hospital, and I don't think that they do tapping, although I shouldn't even say that because I don't have an answer. But she said that there's a lot of folks that you can tell have already been, like in Vietnam or something, and they can get triggered really fast. And one of the nurses actually got fired. He knocked her out and gave her a head bleed. And when she went in for the conference, because all this happened in this situation, that his trigger was that apparently he didn't like his mother that had gray hair and she had gray hair. And that's why he assaulted her.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah,
and
so,
she was fired?
you know, she ended up getting fired because I guess because she had gray hair. It was too bad. It was I interviewed her. If these veterans are getting these, I wouldn't call, well, would you call it a treatment, or is tapping a treatment? Or?
You could call it a treatment. It's definitely not, you know, I am not a psychiatrist, so I wouldn't call it, for me, if I was doing it. However, there are many doctors who are incorporating EFT into their talk therapy practice to great results. A lot of people are being trained to do it within that, you know, within the psychiatric profession, which is pretty awesome. And people who work with veterans are trained beyond their EFT training in trauma training. So there's a little extra stuff in there. As a matter of fact, I'm about to get some training in that so that I can volunteer with the veterans.
I think that's amazing. It is so. I mean, these folks they never got any help when they came out of Vietnam.
No, and they didn't talk about it either, which is so sad.
Right. I guess maybe a lot of them couldn't talk about it because it was so awful. And I mean, when you bring up your kids, you usually bring them up to be pretty nice kids. And now they're over there and they're shooting people. But even if they had that, then, but was tapping? How long has tapping been around?
Well, as I say, it started in the 60s, but most people hadn't heard about it yet. There were some doctors that were using it in their practice. But it became more prevalent after that when Gary Craig simplified the procedure to fewer tapping spots and also developed, I don't want to say a script because what we say with our clients is always different and specific to everyone we're talking to, but a guide of how to go through the points and how to get the client to be more specific about what their issue is. And so over the years, it has grown steadily but slowly, but right now I think there's an explosion in people hearing about EFT, just like you mentioned before the call that you had heard from another EFT practitioner. And there are many foundations now besides EFT International. There's the tapping solution with the Ortners that people can look online and see what they're doing. They have a foundation for Newtown residents who lost children during that terrible shooting. They have a foundation for Rwanda victims, and that's the tapping solution. And then there's also EFT Universe with Dr. Dawson Church. There's a lot of large organizations out there now fostering the use of EFT because, let's face it, it's safe. There are no side effects, and it works. So more and more people are going to be wanting to use this.
Well, I think this is fantastic. Now, when you're talking about all these people, I believe at one time when we had a conversation, you were saying it was in the schools with the kids.
Yes.
Are they doing tapping?
Yes. Now, there are a lot of schools around the world and in this country that are doing tapping. I have not tried to bring it into the schools in my area yet, but that's going to be my next step. It's a wonderful tool. Students use it before testing if they're feeling stressed out from tests. Students use it, athletes use it to help them get ready for a game. And just, what poor kids have been through over the last 3 years with COVID, and teachers, everyone's so stressed out over the kids losing time in their schools and in their education. And there's a lot of stress going on that EFT can really help with.
That would be awesome. I have some grandchildren up in New Hampshire, and they've been out of school for 3 days, I think it was. They went back today. They'll be there tomorrow. And then next week they have half a day and then a full day off. And then they go on April vacation. So, and between the snowstorms and everything else, there is no, I think maybe my daughter, I could teach her tapping.
Yes,
well, you're going to have to teach me again before we before we end the program. Maybe I should get another lesson in the tapping. That was,
well,
but I myself, I have heard a lot about the tapping, and more so than I've heard in a long time. Yeah. So I think you're right on. I think it's a huge explosion.
Yes. I can't wait to see how this is going to work out, because I'm telling you, it really is going to make a difference in the healthcare world. And if you think we have time for a quick tapping, speaking of the healthcare world, I mean, I know that's what your passion is to help healthcare workers with the violence that's going on and how they can deal with it. And I thought we could just do a quick tapping on what happens, anyone who's listening right now who is a healthcare worker, or anyone who knows someone who's a health worker, just thinking about the fact that this violence goes on, how does that make you feel? And that's one of the first things that an EFT practitioner will ask a client is, how does that make you feel?
Right. It's you're on edge from the time you walk into work.
On edge from the time you walk into work. Do you want to do a little round if I ask you a few more questions?
Sure. Let's make the time to do it. I think that will be important for the listeners.
Okay. Now, when we start to tap, I will tell everyone where I'm tapping. But if people who are listening right now, if they would like to tap along with us, they can go to my website, Mariposa EFT. That's like Spanish for butterfly, mariposaeft.com. And if you go on the tab that says, what is tapping, you'll see a chart that shows you where I'm tapping. I'll also explain it as we go along. But the first thing that I do is, while I'm asking Sheila some questions, you can go find that chart. But so Sheila, you say when you even just thinking about people that may have to go through violence in the workplace as a healthcare worker, it makes you feel on edge just walking into work.
Yes.
And then you say you feel on edge. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Depending upon how you get to work. Now, I've taken the subway, the MBTA, and depending upon if I go early in the morning, I'm usually with a group of healthcare workers, but after that and coming home, I never know if I'm going to get assaulted. And there was just a 75-year-old woman that was assaulted. And a lot of times it's by teenagers. And so now that's all on the subway. Mm-hmm. And this has been going on for a long time. So if I had to take the train first,
I see what you're saying. So you're already activated just traveling there.
Yes, and then knowing where I'm going to work and knowing that I've been assaulted already by some of the patients, I'm just on. I guess what is it? My cortisol would be sky high, and
yes, that's one of the stress hormones, as most people in the healthcare field know, is cortisol. Can I ask you a question? As you're thinking about that right now, where are you feeling? Are you feeling any stress right now, just even thinking about those memories?
Actually, I am, because right now it's in my stomach, and I had no problems in my stomach before.
Okay. So you're feeling it in your stomach. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Can you tell me what that feels like in your stomach? What does it feel like?
Well, actually, it's very tight, and I feel a little nauseous.
Nauseous.
And I know I'm not going onto the train today.
Wow. Okay, good. Now, can you tell me on a scale of 1 to 10 how that nausea or tightness in your stomach is?
I think because probably a 4 right now.
Okay, a 4. All right. Now, those are the kinds of questions that we would ask a client. Some details about how they're feeling and where they're feeling it in their body. Not everyone feels things in their body, and a level of intensity. And just overall, would you give this emotion or this stress a name when you're walking into work or getting on the subway to go to work? What are you feeling?
I would have got that years ago too. Yeah, it was. I've worked in the same place before I retired for a long time, and probably in the last 18 years of that time, I always had a stressful feeling going into work because I never knew what was going to happen to me.
Okay, so you would call it stress in general, the word stress. Okay. All right. So the way tapping works, now that I've gotten some information from Sheila, is we start tapping on the side of a hand. Some people call it the karate chop point. And you could use either hand. So just start tapping on the side of the hand. And we always start with something called a setup statement. It has 2 parts. The first part states what's going on, and the second part accepts it. And this is very important because we're sending a signal to the amygdala in the brain that is responsible for alerting our system for fight or flight, which is what you're feeling when you're getting on that subway. You're feeling the fight or flight response. And tapping sends a signal to the brain that, this situation is occurring right now, but you don't need to have all these stress hormones pumping through your body. We could stand down about it because there's no present danger right at the moment. So tapping on the side of the hand, just repeat after me. Even though I'm feeling this stress in my stomach.
Even though I'm experiencing the stress in my stomach.
Even just thinking about going to work.
Even just thinking about going to work.
I accept myself and how I feel.
I accept myself and how I feel.
Even though I'm feeling this nausea in my stomach.
Even though I'm feeling this nausea in my stomach.
And this tightness.
And this tightness, yes.
Just thinking about going to work on the subway.
Just thinking about going to work on the subway.
And just remembering past assaults.
And remembering my past assaults.
I deeply and completely accept how I feel.
I deeply and completely accept how I feel.
And we do it a 3rd time. So even though I'm feeling this tightness and nausea in my stomach.
Even though I feel nausea and tightness in my stomach.
Just thinking about going to work.
Just thinking about going to work.
And the possibility of being assaulted.
And the possibility of being assaulted.
I deeply and completely accept myself and how I feel.
I deeply and completely accept myself and how I feel.
Okay. So now we're going to do a round of tapping and start on the eyebrow point, which is just at the top of the nose and the end of the eyebrow there where they meet. And you can tap on either side with 2 fingers or one side. It doesn't matter. And as we go around the points, you'll just repeat after me. This nausea in my stomach.
This nausea in my stomach.
And then we're going to slide over to the side of the eye, which is at the end of your eyebrow. This tightness and nausea in my stomach.
This tightness and nausea in my stomach.
And we're going to slide down under the eye, right on the bone there. Just thinking about going to the workplace.
Just thinking about going to the workplace.
Now right under the nose and above the lip, upper lip. This nausea and tightness in my stomach.
This nausea and tightness in my stomach.
And now we're going to go to just under the lower lip and that crease of the chin.
Mm-hmm.
This stress, just thinking about going to the workplace.
This stress, just thinking about going to the workplace.
And now the collarbone, which is just a little bit down from that U and on either side where there's a little indentation. And tap there. I feel like I'm on edge walking into work.
I feel like I'm on edge walking into work.
Under the arm, which is about 4 inches below your armpit. I'm feeling so stressed remembering past times.
I feel so stressed remembering past times.
And the top of the head, just like it sounds, right on the top of the head, feeling so stressed in my stomach.
Feeling so stressed in my stomach.
And you've just done a round of tapping. Take a deep breath. Let it out slowly.
That stress is kind of like gone. Is it supposed to go so fast?
Yeah, it can. It can.
I'm just wondering because I always had stress going into work. And check and kind of.
How does your stomach feel? How does your stomach feel?
My stomach, that discomfort is gone. I can't quite. Yeah. I can't believe that really happened because.
Yeah, I know. That's why we tell people to write their numbers down, and I write down what people say because sometimes the relief is so quick they don't even remember that they had it. It's really amazing with students. They're even quicker at dissolving stress because I don't know why, it must be something about the young brain, but I'll just say for your listeners that many things might happen while we're tapping. And one of the things is you might start yawning. If you notice yourself yawning, it's your energy moving, and that's a good sign. Sometimes you might feel the need to just breathe in more. You might want to linger at a spot and breathe there. That's also a sign that you're shifting. And sometimes, and this happens to me, and I know it's happened to a few other people, sometimes I feel like somebody pulled a shade from my eyes and I can actually see clearer, like literally see clearer. So there are many ways, things you might experience during tapping, and it's so good to pay attention to those because it means you're doing the work, and it's great. Sometimes you might notice that the number goes up the first round, and that could be because we're really tuning in and hadn't really thought about this issue very much, And so we're tuned in now, and we need to do more tapping, and then it will go down eventually. But I'm so happy to hear that your numbers went down and your stomach is not nauseous. And wow, that's pretty good.
No, I was kind of surprised because I was surprised, first of all, to have my stomach feel the way it did, and then the nausea, and I'm thinking, what is going on with me? And then I'm going through the whole tapping thing, and all of a sudden, right almost to the end, it all went away, and I'm thinking, wow, why?
That's amazing.
That is really, yes, it certainly is.
They say that we have to feel to heal, and I love to tell people that, because some people say, well, why are you emphasizing the negative? Shouldn't we be tapping in like affirmations? And I love affirmations. Don't get me wrong. I am the queen of affirmations myself. But you can't affirm something that when you're still feeling the issue. You really have to work through the issue and get rid of it. You have to feel it to heal it. And then we can certainly, what I like to do when I'm working with a client for like an hour or so, at the end, if I feel that there's a shift, like you just basically told me you shifted, then I would do a round of more like, let's anchor in this new feeling. So that's basically how EFT works, and I'm just so excited to tell more and more people about it.
Well, this is great. Now, can we have your phone number to put on the internet? Well, I don't know if you want it on the internet, so people can get in touch with you?
Sure. If they go to mariposaeft.com, there's a way to contact me there. But
okay.
Yeah, that would probably be the best way at this point. So it's MARIPOSA, mariposaeft.com.
Okay, because that would be really important. Are there just a couple more questions? Would that be okay?
Sure, absolutely.
Are there any newer studies coming out? Anything else going on that you've heard of?
I know that, let's see, Dr. Peta Stapleton is you spell her name Peta Stapleton, and she's out of Australia. She's a professor at Bond University. She is known worldwide for her research. She has done research on cortisol levels dropping. The findings in her study showed that after an hour of tapping with a group, not even individuals, their cortisol levels dropped 43%, which is more than talk therapy. They have shown that she has done a lot of work with food cravings as well, because it's really great for weight loss, EFT. And what they showed was MRI scans of the brain before and after tapping on food cravings, and it showed that where looking at, let's say your craving is chocolate, they looked at chocolate and their brain just basically lit up because that was their thing, they really wanted it. And after a tapping protocol, those parts of the brain did not light up anymore. They had total control over that food. So that worked really well. And they checked them 6 months later, and they still were having the same results. But now I know that she's working on some research with cancer patients. So we'll be on the lookout for those results, because I find that very exciting too.
Wow, that is fabulous. I mean,
it is.
Wow, that's I didn't realize that they were looking into the cancer patients, and
yes.
And that would be for the stress, or are they looking at other things that tapping can do?
I think they're looking mostly for the stress, but that I'm not as well versed in yet, because I haven't seen a lot of write-ups on it yet, but I will, and I'll probably be putting it on my website because what I do now is I try and put links to different research on there so that people can check it out themselves, because there's, you know how, I don't know if you've ever read a lot of research, but it's dense, so it takes a while to read it. So if I can produce some links for people, and they can find those on my website under see what the research says. And I'm waiting to hear about the cancer research, and then I can tell you more about it.
Oh, that would be. There's another girl that I know. It has nothing to do with tapping, but she gives free facials and massages to cancer patients.
Oh, that's
and that
beautiful.
helps them. And
yeah.
It's I'll get her name and her website for you to see if you want to look at it. But it's there are so many good people out there, and having cancer is a devastation in your lifestyle. You know, when you're told that, and this is it's really terrific.
Yeah. And bringing the stress levels down really helps, I think, with especially from what happens when you're getting treatment, the nausea, all the other symptoms that people get when they have chemo and things like that and radiation. It can really help with the pain. Tapping works very well for chronic pain. So that's another thing that works with tapping.
Oh, do you know a lot about the pain levels and stuff?
Well, I have worked with people with pain, just using the regular tapping protocol. What we usually do is we, just as I did with you with this situation, you ask questions. When did the pain first start? And we tap on memories when the pain first started. And first we just tap on the pain itself. And a lot of the times the level will go down quite a bit, because so much of pain is really stress. When you're feeling pain in part of your body, you tense up, and it feels even worse. So after you've tapped a few rounds, that releases a little bit. And then we can go deeper. We can talk about when the pain first started, and perhaps tap on the experience of what made it start and those kinds of things. And very often we can get the pain levels really down. And then they have a wonderful tool that they can use if the pain comes back. I mean, I've used it myself on a migraine, and it worked beautifully. It took a little work, but I realized what was causing it, so which is great.
So that really is when you look at it and you think how simple that this is, just tapping, using your own fingertips and tapping.
Yeah.
And it takes what? Most 15 minutes, if that?
Well, it depends on what you're working on. But if it's if it's pain that you've had for a while, that's going to be a few sessions maybe.
I see.
Yeah. I mean, I can work with someone for 2 or 3 sessions to really work on something and go deep. It depends on how deeply someone really wants to go, because one of the reasons why, for example, the PTSD work is so great is that the practitioner will help them to go through some of the memories, and that you can't do right away, because you have to start very gradually with a client. So as you can see, that would take longer. But if you're just working on, I've got a test and I need to take a test and I'm very nervous about it, then I would say like a half hour of tapping that you could teach someone right before they take a test. You could teach them how to tap about it right before they go in and take it, and it will help instantly. It will help instantly if you're stuck in traffic and you're getting all stressed out because you're late. You could sit there and just tap on one point and say a few things. I'm so stressed about being late. I'm so stressed about being late. And breathe and tap, and before you know it, you're feeling much calmer. So yeah, it works quickly, and it also can be a longer session if you want to go really deeper.
This is really amazing, Betty Ann. Our time has come to an end. And is there anything else that you can say before we go?
I would just say, if you want to learn about tapping, please do. The more people that know about it, the healthier we'll all be.
All right. And you said you'd come back on the show?
Thank you so much. I would definitely come back. And I'd also like to say to healthcare workers out there, if you need some time to de-stress, just get in touch with me and we'll talk.
That's awesome, Betty Ann. Thank you so much for being on the show. And we'll talk again.
It's been a pleasure. Okay.
Thank you.
Sheila. Bye-bye.